Good afternoon. Welcome to the first edition of the Zazoo Plazz Report on the Zazoo Tube channel. Welcome to the Zazoo Plazz Video Party. This is the very first video. I am your host, Leslie Bilodeau-Plazic, and I am the author of The Audacious Adventures of Zazoo Plazz, Part-Time Superhero, Full-Time Mom. Now, bear with me because this is like the first time I'm doing this, and I just want to, imagine that, we're all sitting around, we're having a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, and, we're all, because in ordinary times we'd be doing something like that, and so, but this being the times that they are, I like to just take do one video a day for the month of April, and just come here and talk to you. And so I invite you to join me here on the Zazoo Tube channel, and join the party. The more the merrier. Tell your friends. I just want to say that, well, let me just introduce myself first of all. As I said, I'm Leslie Bilodeau-Plazic. Bilodeau is my maiden name, and it is of French-Canadian origin, and Plazic is my married name. So I want to just chat with you first of all, as we're getting to know each other, how I came up with the name of my book. Zazoo is my childhood nickname. So if any of you out there can think back to when you were little, the name was actually given to me by my mother's mother, whom I called Mime, which is the French-Canadian term of endearment for, your Mime is grandma, Pepe is grandpa, and so I write about this a little bit in my book and in future books, about how when I was a little girl I'd be running around getting into some kind of mischief, and Mimi would say, "Hey, Zazoo Pits," and I can still hear her saying that. So to my ears, Zazoo was, I didn't know what Zazoo was. Why did she call me Zazoo Pits? And I thought Zazoo could be some kind of a French nickname, or perhaps some other the French thing that I didn't know about. As it turned out, Mime called me Zazoo Pits because there was an actress, a famous actress from Mime's time in the 20s all the way through probably the early 60s, before I was born, named Zazoo Pits, and she was sort of a wide-eyed, busybody type of actress, and who was fluttery, and sort of like Olive Oil and the Popeye cartoons. So she, I guess she saw something in me that reminded her of Zazoo, and I thought pits was because I didn't like to eat anything with pits, whether it was cucumbers or tomatoes or anything. It would take me an hour to eat a slice of watermelon because I would take all the pits out as a kid. And so anyway, so that's where Zazoo came from. I just spelled it with 2 O's because that's the way I imagined it in my mind. But the actress actually spelled it differently. But anyway, so there I go, wandering. I do that a lot. I just start telling a story, and you never know where it's going to end up. But I'm going to try to keep this short for just today. You like my necklace? So then the Plazz part was, I married this guy who I talk about in the book. His name is Gray in the book. just a made-up disguised name. It's nothing that came from anywhere else, just gray, because he has a gray car, and anyway, he likes wearing the color gray. So anyway, so Plazz is short for Plazek, which is spelled P-L-A-C-Z-E-K. So that's how I got my name, Zazoo Plazz. My illustrator tacked on an extra Z at the end, which I thought was, you know, I said, let's keep that, because there's 2 Z's in my first name and 2 Z's in the last name, and it kind of balances, you know, it kind of balances out. And my illustrator, by the way, is the very creative and talented Robin Tatwell Ward, who is in Australia, and I'll talk about her a little bit more sometime this month as we get to know each other a little bit better, and I'll tell stories, and then we can, you know, keep things light and laugh and share a moment during our days when I know I'm married, mother of 2 boys. They're both teenagers. In the book, they're Brennan and Jack. So that's what they shall be for the purposes of my videos. And Brennan is a 19-year-old college sophomore, and Jack is a junior in high school. And so we're all home. And if you are a mom, I feel your delight at being surrounded by your family at this time, and I also understand that what that entails. So since it's April Fool's Day, I mean, normally I would have done something kind of kooky anyway, because that's the tradition in the Plazz house. You know, like walked around with my Do Not Disturb hat. Isn't that? I bought it for the beach, but I've repurposed it for my office door, so that when I'm working, I can, you know, be not disturbed, because we all have to. We have to respect each other's sacred space. Or, you know, on April Fool's past, I might do something like, you know, show you these these lovely socks that my mother-in-law bought me for Christmas. And they're nice and cozy, and they kind of look like pickles. And, you know, they come in handy for lots of things, like, you know, dusting, and she got me this too. She got me this little L thing, which I really like. I keep my angel feathers in there that I find, or, you know, something else. I don't know, whatever. But anyway, so I'm going to be here all month on the Zazoo Tube, and let's see, what else did I want to talk to you about? Yeah, so typically there would be lots of little jokes going around, and somebody would, you know, put some kind of a creepy, scary skeleton guy in my closet or in the cupboard downstairs, and, you know, Mom is the favorite target because I have the best reactions. But this year is a somber time. And it's and we're all going through this, whether you're a mom of children, or if you have older children, or you're a grandparent, whoever you're taking care of, whoever you're living with, you know, human. If you're human, you're feeling the need to be nurtured at a time like this, and we mother ourselves. And some of us, you know, I'm going to be here spreading a little humor, a little light, and a little hope during these times, and I hope you join me. So today, bear with me, this is my first time doing this, and it's lots of fun. I could talk all day. I just kind of feel like I was born for this on some level. But today I did want to share one story in particular, which is comforting to me, and I think some of us at this time, maybe more of us so, and we women at the sort of midpoint of life where perhaps we're taking care of children, we're taking care of looking out for our parents, making sure they're okay at this time. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's like we still need to keep our light burning, you know, and that's what I want to say is that even if it's 5 or 10 minutes to watch this funny video, and if it makes you maybe want to go and do something creative, something you've always wanted to do, learn a new skill or knit some socks or something, you know, these are quite nice. They have little thingy grippy things on the bottom. So anyway, when I was a little girl, every day at 3 o'clock or so, my mom would kind of run out of steam. She put me, this is when I was a baby, she'd put me in the crib and try to tiptoe off, and she'd read me a story, and then she'd try to go off and maybe watch the dating game or read a book or do something nice for herself. And there was one afternoon in particular when she said she was just changing me before story time, and I guess I had picked up some kind of a little bug or something, and she said she went to change my diaper and there was a projectile that ended up as parents know, when you have babies, you know, they have messes, they make messes, right? So I made a big mess somehow that ended up on the wall, and the walls were sort of a pea soup green, and so were my clothes, because in those days people didn't know if they were having boys or girls, and they just bought green pea soupy clothes. And so there was this big, you know, excrement on the wall. So my mother, she was tired, she was so worn out, she just wanted to sit down and have a little break. And there she was hauling up all the pails and the Less oil and that's her favorite cleaner, and all the mops and things. And she changed me, put me in the crib where I sat and smiled at her while she got up on the ladder and cleaned the wall and everything. And then when my dad came home, somehow everything, you know, he'd come in the door and he'd go and put on his Mr. Rogers cardigan and flip his shoes in the air. Well, he didn't really flip his shoes, but, you know, it seemed like everything would be okay once Dad got home. You know, it was kind of a comforting thing, and that it all would be forgotten, at least until they painted over that spot. And my mother used to call me a pistol, and that may have been why, because of that little incident. And because of incidents like that, the fact that I was an only child is particularly relevant, I guess. It was like raising all the Waltons in, you know, just one. Good night, Zazoo. That was me. So anyway, based on that little story, it occurred to me that, you know, this is a time, well, it's a time in my life, and it's a time in the world when things are kind of hitting the wall. It's hitting the wall. And, you know, you've got to clean it up. So anyway, I thought I'd read you just this one little passage from my book, from this little story. I wonder whether I take after Mom in that I seem to be in control of business and life in general until about 3 in the afternoon, when the doo-doo hits the wall, mostly figuratively, except when the boys were babies and the dog was a puppy, and I feel like I could use a helping hand. Yet this ethereal hour drops a golden slipper of potential, like in the 1988 movie Working Girl, where investment banking executive Catherine, played by Sigourney Weaver, breaks her leg skiing, and her assistant Tess, played by Melanie Griffith, you remember that movie, with her head for business and her bod for sin, sweeps into action, transforming the staid into the stellar and saving the day. It is the time of day when my inner cat in the hat shows up to juggle cake, cup, and fish atop a ball, while thing 1 and thing 2 fly kites in the hallway. Somehow the mess gets cleaned up before my husband comes home, dinner usually cooking, and the devoted dog by the door, tail wagging in welcome. I now find myself in the mid-afternoon of life, time when stuff hits the wall, and sometimes it helps to talk to or hear about someone who is dealing with the same sort of mess. You don't need anyone to clean it up for you, blame you for it, or tell you to lie down. No, what you need right now is a refreshing shower and a foot bath, some cold lemonade or a hot cup of tea. You need someone to say, it's okay. So, you need a friend to say, you know, it's okay. I remember that time my kid threw up in the minivan on the way to the wedding, and, you know, at least that didn't happen to you. And maybe your friend sends you, a little bouquet, you know, those little fruit bouquets with the chocolate strawberries that, you know, those are really nice. A friend of mine sent me those one time at the holidays when my father-in-law had just passed away. That was kind of nice. You could nibble on them and share them with people. And so, you know, it's a time to be grateful, I think. Time to be grateful for those friends that maybe you can't get together, but you can call them up and say, hey, you know, how you doing? Here's something, you know, something good that happened to me today. Just something, here's something I'd like to share with you. Maybe you heard a joke you want to share, a funny video, or like this video, you know, something that kind of warms your heart, and makes you feel like, you know, it's gonna be all right. I'm gonna get through this. So, anyway, so that's a little story that I wanted to share with you, and I hear my dog Dee Dee scratching at the door. She doesn't like to be excluded, so maybe she'll join me at a future video. And there's lots of other things that I'd like to explain to you about Zazoo. Zazoo Plazz, the part-time superhero, full-time mom. But that can wait because we have a whole month, and then after that I'll probably keep doing these because it's kind of fun. And so the other thing I wanted to say was please come back. I'd love to see you again, and I love to find things out and share them with people. And if you're interested in the book, I'm going to leave a link to my Amazon book page, and I'm also starting a Zazoo Facebook page. You can please come visit me there, and we're going to have all kinds of fun things, and you know, maybe we'll have this get-up available. I think maybe by the end of the month I'll show up in my little capron and you know, have the whole get-up. But right now I'm just starting out, so I wish you lots of light. Of course, stay healthy, stay safe. Lots of light, lots of love, and of course, lots of laughter. Leslie, Zazoo, out. See you tomorrow.